just like we talked about before earlier on in this lesson, the rate of change is a synonym to calculating the slope. All right, so I'm going to show you two ways how we're going to do this, and then we'll go from there. So we have our table. We're going to go to our decimals. Obviously, we're going to make ourselves a table. So I need 2 points. On my x, I have -14 and -12, and on my y, I have 3 and 6. y1 squiggly mx1 plus b is my equation. So my m, I'm going to turn to fraction form, is 3/2. Remember, all we have to do is just type the m right there, and then we're good to go. So we have m equals to 3/2. The other way is by hand. So I'm going to talk to you guys about the change over y divided by the change over x. And what that means is that we're going to calculate, well, what's the difference between those y values and what's the difference between the x values. So if I look at my y values, to go from 3 to 6, I would just be adding 3. So I will put a 3 here on the numerator. Okay, so those are the changes in my values of y. The changes in my values of x, however, if I go from -14 to -12, I would be adding 2. And so the 2 is now going to go on the denominator. So as you can see, our slope is still going to be the same, whether we calculate it using our slope-intercept formula or if we did it by calculating the difference between the y values and the x values. Let's go to another one. All right, so now we're going to kind of break down what these things mean, and this input value and output value, those need to change, but we'll talk about that later. So now we have a different graph. So let's go ahead and exit everything out, start from scratch, and I'm going to make myself a table. Notice, before I put my input values into the table, let's make ourselves a vertical table. And it's super important that we rewrite our table because they try to trick us sometimes. All right, so we're going to start with our x values, and our x values is a 0 and a 1. So I'm going to write 0 and I'm going to write 1. Our y values are 10 and 55. So now I'm going to write 10 and 55. What I see that students do all the time where we get this wrong is they type the table in the same way it shows us here, and we get this incorrect. Because our 1 is not a y value, okay? It is an output value. So we're going to turn this into a 1. This is actually 10, and that is 55, okay? Same way as our table. y1 squiggly mx1 plus b, and we're going to look at what our slope is. Our m equals to 45. So we can write that m equals to 45. Now, also, we could have did the same thing. To go from 10 to 55, I'm going to add 45. And then to go from, sorry, let's do this in red. Okay, to go from 0 to 1, I'm just adding 1. So then we have 45 divided by 1, or 45 here. Okay, so let's fill in our sentences here. Our output value is our dollars. Okay, remember, our output is how much we're trying to make. Our dependent variable. The independent variable is going to be our hours. So as we can see, our dollars continue to increase at a rate of 45. And this should be changed. This should be actually dollars per hour. All right, let's look at one more. Okay, so this is another one of those tables that we get confused with. Again, I'm going to start over from the top. I want y'all to see this as much as possible. Make yourself a new table. Now, I can pick any 2 points. I like to keep it positive because keeping it positive is just way easier to me. So I have a 4 and a 6 on my x. So I'm going to go 4, 6. And then I have 12 and 18. Okay, I'm going to do this by hand first because these are really easy. So to go from here, I'm going to be adding 6. And to go from here, I'm going to be adding 2. The trick is y over x. So if we need to write it out over here, y divided by x gives me 6 divided by 2, or my answer is 3. Let's double check that in decimals though. Add myself a table. 4, 6, 12, and 18. They want y'all to mess that up, by the way. Okay, so as I can see here, my m is still 3. So it didn't matter which way I did it. I still got m is 3, and that's an increase. All right. Okay, I'll see you guys for next time, and that's the end of this video.